One Piece chapter 1069 is going to be out in some time, and this is all what we can expect from the chapter as of right now. One Piece 1068 dropped earlier last week, and it certainly proved to be an emphatic chapter, with the majority of the focus being on the 𝚬𝚙𝚘𝚝 after quite a while. In the past few chapters, we have been getting major revelations one after the other, but in comparison, last week's chapter was not as intense. Despite that, towards the end of the chapter, we were treated to an incredible cliffhanger, with Luffy and Rob Lucci coming face to face with each other after years. The two clashed for the last time in Enies lobby, where Luffy ended up defeating Rob Lucci and taking Nico Robin with him. Since then, they have not crossed paths, and One Piece 1069 has us on the edge of their seats, waiting for these two to finally clash once again. One Piece 1069 will most likely focus quite a bit on Rob Lucci. As we know, Lucci is one of the strongest fighters that the world government have currently. He was deemed to be a genius from a very young age, and a talent of his likes doesn't pop up every now and then. Lucci will most likely have gotten stronger since he fought Luffy and lost. This is evident from the fact that he has been promoted to CP0 and holds a prestigious rank there. Also, according to the chapter 1069 spoilers, Lucci fights against Luffy with his awakened Zone. Both fighters have gotten much stronger ever since the Enies lobby arc. He is one of the masked men of the CP0, and according to Oda, the masked men are the ones to look out for. In the previous chapter, we saw him unleash a Rokugan from the get-go, meaning that he has stronger tricks up his sleeve now than he once did. One Piece 1069 will most likely see Lucci attempt to engage Luffy in combat, and if he is just as strong as he was previously, he won't stand much of a chance. As such, it is highly likely that One Piece 1069 will see Lucci unleash a new power of his, that he has likely worked towards during the 2-year time skip. As we know, One Piece 1069 will likely see Luffy clash against Lucci. It goes without saying that their previous fight lives up to the standards, and is widely considered to be the best One Piece fights of all time. It was intense and filled with high-octane action from start to finish. The emotional weight that the fight carried was certainly astounding, and we would hope that whatever is to follow in One Piece 1069 would be something similar. However, it is more likely that the clash between Lucci and Luffy will be short-lived. Egghead Island appears to be a short arc, and for Oda, it would be highly unusual to draw a large-scale battle. We might also see the two engage in a skirmish. However, there will likely be an interruption that causes them to stop. Nonetheless, whatever we see will be interesting, as Lucci's new abilities will be put on full display. At the same time, this will also prove to be the very first display of Luffy as a Yonko in combat. Oda will surely not let the Straw Hat Captain down while illustrating this battle. It is highly likely for Luffy to use the peak of his powers, that is, Gear 5 in this fight. Another massively important character who could come into play in One Piece 1069 is none other than 𝚬𝚙𝚘𝚡 Kuma, one of the core members of the Revolutionary Army. Kuma was successfully rescued by the commanders of the Revolutionary Army from the Reverie and brought to Momoyaro Island. As seen towards the end of the last chapter, Kuma started running towards an unknown place, and as soon as he reached a cliff, he used the powers of his devil fruit to send himself flying. It is unknown where exactly he went. However, he is likely headed to the same place where the Straw Hat Pirates currently are, along with his daughter, and that is Egghead Island. Interestingly, the seraphim of 𝚬𝚙𝚘𝚘 Kuma is also present on the island, and the two could very well come face to face against each other, and we would get to see the difference in power between a copy and the real thing. Regardless, One Piece 1069 is most likely going to be very intriguing, and we certainly can't wait for it. And that's it for today. I hope you all enjoy this video, and I also asked you to subscribe to help us. I'm just too excited for the 1069 chapter, as in the chapter we can also see Vegapunk reaction on Luffy's Gear 5. Well, what do you think about this? Share your thoughts with us in the comments, and if you like, please subscribe.